Okay. All right. So this is 3 day 2. And that's it. Tomorrow I'll review. Actually, we'll review Monday as well. And then Tuesday will be a test. That's a C right there on that last word. Do you see it? Critical voters. So you wrote all this down. Remind me to clarify this later, and I will. Probably don't have to remind me. What a dummy voter is, which doesn't happen in our example, but I'll explain it after the example's over. And I can explain what a dictator voter is with our last example as well. But you can write those words down. Okay. And then what's really key for the day is critical voters. So the first example is a standalone. Here's the overall voting system. Here's a few voters, which one's critical in this one coalition. Then the last example is list all the coalitions. You can come in. And then do some... Shh, you're online. That just went on YouTube. Okay, now let's move on. All right, there's the first example. I don't want to show anything else. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, first things first, my favorite question. Is this a simple majority or a percent majority, like 2/3, 67, 75%? Well, what do we do with these numbers? Add them. What should the sum be if this is a simple majority? What should this sum be? There it is. It's not 48, but you're close. 46, because what's half of 46? 23. What's 23 plus 1? 24. So this sum should be 46 if it's a simple majority. It is. Not going to bore you. Okay? So anyway, that's just a question I like to ask, thrown out with section 3.1 kind of stuff. Now here's the example. This is just a silly question off of this voting system here. Which voters in P2, 3, 4, 5 are critical? So this is just one coalition pulled out. These guys are a coalition. They decide to go together. Now, according to the definition of critical voter, which one of these are critical? Well, what that means is, what happens if you take one out? What if you take P2 out? By the way, this is P1, P2, P3, 4, 5, 6. So P2 through 5, we're looking at. You take P2 out, and you only have 3, 4, and 5. That's 8 plus 5, which is 21. Fumble! That's somebody on strike 2. What should I do? All right, and then that makes it a loser because it's not 24. All right, then you take this again, take P3 out. Well, if you take P3 out, you only have P2, 9, 8, and 5, which adds up to 22. That's a loser. So that makes P3 critical to this coalition. Ayo, perfect attendance. And then P4 pulled out, you get 22, which is a loser. P5 pulled out, though, 2, 3, and 4 add up to 25. That would still be a winner. So all it means is P5 is not critical, but it doesn't mean P5 is a dummy. What you'd have to do to find a dummy voter is to list out all of the coalitions together, do this test, who's a critical, only the winners we only care about, right? So you look at all the winning coalitions. And if somebody is never a critical voter in any coalition listed, that's a dummy. Because they really have no power whatsoever. They have no way of swaying a vote one way or another in any coalition that they're part of. Because it doesn't matter that they're in there. I'm pretty sure I got this right. You know who a dictator would be? A dictator would be somebody that has a number that is what in this list that I'm writing right here? I just heard you. What'd you say? Is that you over there? You get one strike back. 24. But again, if you do something wrong, it's 2 strikes. It's still strike 3. You lose. All right? Because everything's 2 strikes for a penalty. And anyway, if somebody has 24 in this, and the winning vote has to be 24, they'd be a dictator. Because it doesn't matter what anyone else does. If I'm in, we win. If I'm not, You might win if the others add up, but if I go in, I sway the vote no matter what. Ain't. Okay, next terms. Write them down. I'll explain them in the next example. Boom. Banzai. It's not Banzai, it's Banzhaf. I think. I don't know. I'm just reading what it says here, but I can't stop saying Banzai when I do the notes, so I apologize for that ahead of time. And then what you do is you give a point for that. I know I didn't say that online. But I was trying to explain as I'm writing this down just for stalling purposes. This is where you list out all the possible coalitions. You look at all the winning coalitions. Then once you look at the winning coalitions, see if anyone's a critical voter in that winning coalition. What you do is you pull them out, and does it matter or not? If it matters, they have bonds of power, and you give them a point. All right? The total Banzhaf power is the total amount of times they're a critical voter. You give them a point for each time they represent being a critical voter in a coalition. And then the BPI, Banzhaf Power Index. Add up all the Banzhaf powers to get a total pertaining to all the voters. Take the individual's number divided by that total. And that probably won't make sense until we actually do it. So I'll just restate that statement again with the actual numbers. Please get this separated in your mind so that the homework is smooth. So I think I did say this. Find all the winning coalitions. Don't care about the losers. Losers are losers. They will not pass the vote, so there's no power because you didn't pass the vote. Once you find all the winning coalitions, determine the critical voters in each winning coalition. And if there are individual critical voters, they get a point each time they are a critical voter. See how many total individual Banzhaf power points you get. The BPI then is just take the each individual BP divided by the total, and you make it a percent. Again, I'll say it again when we actually have our example. That says in that is, goes along those lines. Anyway. So, here we go. Hey, is this a simple majority? What should this add up to be for this to be a simple majority? 60. Good, because half of 60 is what? 30 plus 1 is 31. I must divide it by 2 again because I lost myself. And then, by the way, remember this formula you have to have memorized? And actually on the test, if you have to list out all the coalitions, you'll see. But I'll ask formula questions like this. Hey, there's 10 voters. How many different coalitions can you make up? 2 to the 10th minus 1. Memorization is a skill. Okay, then remember, coalitions could be single, could be 2 people, and you got to assign, who goes with who. And what I would do for your notes is I'm going to back off. Back off. Back off. One more. I think we still should be able to see that. There we go. It's about as good as it gets. Good movie. Stunning YouTube. Let's watch Mr. Samuels change the size of the page. So what I would do is I'd list this column first. List this, because this is yesterday's homework. And then I'll explain this other stuff. Which is just exactly what we wrote. I don't know where we're at. Just take all these notes down and do your homework. Now, all right. All kidding aside. All right, these are losers. So, I don't have my pen. Okay, these are losers. So I don't care about these. Anything that's a loser, that there's no, bonds of power if the coalition doesn't win. But this is a winner. So when you look at this, okay, that's a winning coalition. Does anyone have bonds of power? Meaning, if I get rid of them, would this be a winner anymore? Yes or no? No. So P1 has bonds of power in this coalition. If they are removed, they matter. So that's why P1 and P2, for that matter, both have bonds of power in this specific coalition. That was a winner with them, a loser without them. So they both get a point. I shouldn't have to explain every single one of them because it gets redundant. This is a winner. The next one, if you remove either one of them, it becomes a loser. So they get a bonds of power point. Same thing with this. And then you could look at the rest. And these are losers, so I don't care about these. They're losers, so what's the difference? You remove them, they're still a loser. But in this last three, trying to find my, there's my, love this computer. I just lose my, where the mark is. In this one, only P1 matters. All right, I did go down a little bit, but I want to go back up just to explain this one. P1 has a power rank of 24, and P2 is 14. You keep those two together, you're at 38. That's a winner. P1 and P4 or P3, same thing. That's a winner. But if you remove P1, P2, and P3, as noted, I don't have my pen, so I have to find this. There it is. Right there, P2, P3 is a loser. So if I lose P1, then this becomes a losing coalition. That gives P1 a Bunzif PowerPoint. PowerPoint, yeah. Sounds like PowerPoint, like the program. I don't know, that's why I got confused. And so on and so on and so forth. Look at the last one. It's all four together. If you remove any one of those, there's still going to be a winner. So if I remove even P1, the most powerful one here, P2, 3, and 4 together are still a winner. That's why there's no points awarded in the last coalition. I think you should understand all the rest. So now what you do is you look at this. P1 has a Bunzif PowerPoint here, 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 here. That's 6 PowerPoints. And then the other 3 have each time they show up twice. So they have 2 PowerPoints each. Bunzif power. Add those up, that's a total of 12 points. To get their individual BPI, all you do is take their individual power number divided by the whole. So that's why P1 has a BPI of 6 over 12, which is 50%. And then the other 3 are all the same, 2 over 12, which is a BPI of 16.7%. So I know it's weird. It's new word. It's simple once you memorize it.